Well, if universal praise and breaking Reddit are any indication of quality, last Sunday gave us a pretty solid new episode of Game of Thrones. Is there anybody out there who doesn't agree that this episode was a huge improvement over episode 1? Home was by no means flawless, but the general opinion seems to be that the episode's big moments outweighed the pacing issues. The greatest of those moments was certainly the resurrection of Jon Snow, even if not all viewers share the sheer enthusiasm. Melisandre's motivation, and Davos' motivation to ask her to do it for that matter, seemed rather unconvincing after the stunning display of weakness at the end of episode 1. There are still so many questions here, by the way. We still don't know who Melisandre really is, and we don't know if Jon will be the same person he was before. And will there be a death to pay for his life? Or has there been one? Shireen, perhaps? Beric Dondarrion could be the key to answering these questions. Beric was resurrected several times, and lost more and more of his identity, his personality, along the way. What's also strange about his case? It seems that no death ever paid for any of his resurrections. So does not only death pay for life after all? We will have to wait and see. Number 2 among this episode's big moments is the unchaining of what Die Zeit calls medieval ICBMs. It was a great scene full of great acting by Peter Dinklage, but also great CGI. The dragons felt more alive and real than ever. However, I would argue that comparing them to ICBMs, or atomic bombs for that matter, as has often been done, is not actually fitting. In this very episode we were able to see clearer than ever that Martin's dragons are not mindless tools of destruction that can be used and manipulated at will by intellectually superior humans. On the contrary, these dragons didn't merely look sentient, but rather intelligent. These dragons' will and intelligence must be taken into account by everyone who plans to use or to fight them, and certainly also by us viewers. Another very interesting scene was the introduction of Euron Greyjoy. A man long dead in the books, killed by a man apparently thought dead by the former. A great choice, I think, to include his little godliest man speech from the books, with a minor twist. He doesn't only call himself the Storm here, but also the drowned god himself. Asbag might not look like Euron Greyjoy on paper, but so far he's been pulling it off anyway. Also on the Iron Islands we find who is apparently Euron Greyjoy, despite looking much older than his brother Euron. Not only take Alt-Shift-X and Tower of the Hands Jeff Buckley for granted that he is indeed Euron, but HBO's Viewer's Guide confirms it. What's the story here? Is Euron older than Euron? If so, will he try to become king of the Iron Islands himself? Why wouldn't he? Or is Euron only looking younger because of magic, quite like Melisandre? Here, too, we will have to wait and see. Maybe we are simply meant to believe that this guy is significantly younger than this guy, and that's the end of it. Hey, and Theon is on his way. Let's see how that will go. Beside dragons and a self-proclaimed god walking the earth, or planetos if you will, there's a great emphasis on giants in episode 2. 1-1 wreaking havoc, Gregor Stein barely not wreaking havoc, and, of course, Hodor or Wylis. We see him as an oversized boy preparing to spar against Benjen Stark, but it never happens, because old Nan, not as old then obviously, forbids it. Overall, a great flashback that Bran and Brynden Rivers witness here. Alt-Shift-X points out a stunning revelation that many viewers probably missed. Bran will not stay forever. Where will he go? Is he not supposed to take his mentor's place and carry on? It seems that's not the case after all. Meanwhile, Winterfell still plays the role of a second Dorne. The murder of Roose Bolton is a reprise of the murder of Doran Martell last week. It seems out of place here for Ramsay to have the upper hand and get rid of his father instead of the other way around. While Alyssa Rosenberg of the Washington Post argues that this week's episode stressed the virtue of patience, this is the second character known for patient plotting to die in as many episodes. Tower of the Hands Stefan Sasse suspects that the showrunners didn't have anything left to do with him that couldn't be done by Ramsay, supervillain number 1, so they got rid of him. I can't really disagree. As Sean T. Collins points out for the Rolling Stone, the lunatics running the asylum is becoming a theme. The last of the big moments was the confrontation of the High Sparrow and Lord Commander Jaime Lannister. Well written and well shot, the scene has Jaime seemingly in the better position, until the High Sparrow points out how unimportant his own person is. The real power resides not in the High Sparrow, but in the number of his followers. They are the Leviathan threatening the capital, not the High Sparrow himself. At least that's what he says to win the argument. Is it true, though? Would his followers not turn on each other without that cunning old man to lead them? I'm not convinced, but it seemed to suffice for Jaime anyway. Arya felt a bit like a side note again. The scene was interesting nevertheless. We saw something that had already been pointed out concerning the books. Arya is seemingly rewarded for becoming no one step by step, while we have good reason to doubt that she really is getting any closer to that goal. Her mentor must know this, so why does he reward her? We can only guess that the Faceless Man's plans are not as straightforward as they might seem in that respect. If you are looking for a quick laugh, by the way, Hodor is a horse. See the link below. It's now time to admit that another one of our predictions fell through on Sunday. Jon Snow decided that he could wait no longer and mercilessly destroyed it already inside of the finish line. The other 5 are still looking good, especially our prediction about House Bolton with the Liege Lord dead now. And that's it. No need for a rant today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, comment, share and visit the shit out of our blog.